All right, welcome in everybody here to the Flagship Football Show. Thank you for joining us. We are brought to you by the Rebel Walk, where we're positively Ole Miss. I'm Jake Evans alongside Lan Teller here. Michael Spears is missing in action again this week. He got held up with some baseball duties. Now that UCF is in town, he has been called into action, and we've been on standby here for a little while waiting on him. But as I said, duty calls. We'll be getting him back next week. So yeah, just Jake Evans and Lan Teller here today. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, please drop a 5-star review for us and show your support. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the Rebel Walk channel. And then while you're at it, follow us and the Rebel Walk on Twitter and Facebook to stay up to date on all your Ole Miss news. We also want to give a shout out to Mark Rogers, the voice of college football. Check Mark out on Twitter and YouTube to get all of your college football news in one place. All right. Since we last spoke, we were off last week. Had a crazy day. I'm sure everybody knows by now that the winter storm came. It hit Oxford like a train. We were pretty much shut down for the entire week. So we kind of just took a bye week there. We had a lot of action though. It was not we took a bye week, and it was not because of a lack of action. Last week was, minus the loss against Mississippi State. That was one of the better weeks for Ole Miss sports in a long, long time.
And I did a lot of sledding.
Yeah, absolutely. I did a lot of sledding too. I had a good time. It was weird. People down here don't really know what to do when it snows.
See, it's funny because I said that and I talked to High Horse. I was like, these people, nobody knows how to drive in the snow. Like, they're sliding everywhere. Like, it's driving me crazy. And then I finally got out my Civic and I was slipping and sliding all over the place, going, okay.
Yeah, I was kind of doing the same thing. We're both from Nashville. We get a couple of good snows a year. We'll get like one or two solid ones that we'll shut it down.
Every once in a while we get
a real dump. For the most part, we're compared to people in Oxford, Mississippi, we are way more used to it. Yes. We're Yankees basically. But yeah, I was talking a big game too. I was, everybody bundle up and you put this on and this and that and the other. Well, I decided to put on leather cowboy boots on Monday night, walking through the snow, knowing that there was a 2-inch layer of ice under all of it. Decided to walk down a hill, was walking and was trying to help. I was trying to help everybody else, honestly. I was hey everybody, small steps, hold on to something. Whatever. I took a cartoon fall, not even 3 steps out of the front door.
But see,
like banana peel, boom, just straight out from under me. I woke up the next morning. I thought that I'd been run over by Jerome Bettis.
It's so wow.
I know the bus, man.
Man, I haven't thought about
bruises everywhere
in a long time. But the thing about ice is you have no control. Even if you want to have control, even if you're driving slow,
it's a nice thought, but it ain't happening.
Yeah, and like the thing is, it's like like I said, I was walking on the square with some friends, and they were sliding, going, oh, almost fell. I'm like. Yeah. That's why you got to walk slow, idiot. And then I, did the same thing. It's just same with the car. You can hit the brakes, you can do what you want, but once you start sliding, that it's kind of like when you get caught in a rip current.
Take the
exactly. You kind of just have to be like, okay, well, I'm sliding. Yeah. We're gonna see where this ends.
Let's just hope there's not a telephone pole between me and the end of it.
And the good thing is, it's like when they push all the snow to the side, so you get these kind of like cushions, if you will. So you don't hit anything. Yeah. You just kind of bump the snow.
See, I had a guy, I was stopped at a red light and I had a guy, and I could tell that he was not in control anymore. He was bumping at me, and I could also see through his windshield, and he was like doing this, and his girlfriend was like just, oh my gosh, like holding onto the handles and everything.
Preparing for
and I was doing the same thing. It was like deja vu, because I've been hit twice in Oxford from behind while sitting still at a light. Yeah. And so it was just deja vu again. But this dude managed to just whip it all the way over. He just ran himself up a snowbank.
How you got to do it.
And he just chilled there. It wasn't like he crashed or anything. He just ran it up there and just kind of sat there. And then when the light turned green, he just backed down.
That's what I did. Yeah.
I was like, my guy. Yeah. My guy. Thank you.
Well, it's funny, people, you start driving, and this is a reference for my James Bond fans, but it's you start driving like Sean Connery did in
Old Bond,
Dr. No, or just
right there. That's basically where you are. You're just like, that's all you can focus on.
Well, but the thing is, it's like, back in the 60s, technology was not that great. And so but the thing is that it's not like cars changed.
It's not like this was ever the way you drove.
Yeah, it wasn't how you drove, right? Like if Sean Connery finished that scene and then drove home, he wouldn't have done that. But they're doing the steering wheel, and looking out, over his shoulder. And, but
it looks ridiculous.
And
watching that car in real life actually move, it just go just back and forth like this.
Like
I mean, it's like
so maybe that was the inspiration. They're like, maybe they told Sean which by the way, Sean Connery, one of the greatest actors of all time, rest in peace. That was one of the most depressing days of my entire life. Like, we were in Nashville.
You're a huge movie guy. I know how bad that must have been.
We were in Nashville for the Vandy Ole Miss game, and my roommates were with me, and we were staying in a hotel, and they were like, "Dude, shut up! Like, you got to move on." And because I was so bummed out, and I just kept.
I don't think bummed out's right. I think you were distraught.
I was so distraught. Like, I have never I was just so sad, and he was super old and lived a phenomenal life, and is an absolute amazing James Bond, and so and so very special to my dad and I. Watching Indiana Jones, watching Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, James Bond, all this different stuff, and Hunt for the Red October, which that movie stinks. It's so boring, but everybody, you're like old, not old, but like an adult.
Yeah.
When you think that's a good movie, because it is literally 2.5 hours of, where are we, Captain? Like, we're still in the ocean. Well, have you found the Red October yet? No,
we're still here.
Okay.
All right, we'll check back in a half hour.
Okay, 30 minutes later, let's see. Let's circle back.
Found it? No, still not.
Yeah. But so Sean Connery, we are a Sean Connery podcast.
Okay, so we went. So Rebels winning. Rebels lose to Mississippi State. And then Lance sledded, and then Sean Connery. So boom, logical.
We should have one of those YouTubes where we have to leak things on Wikipedia. Have you ever seen those? Mm-hmm. Where you have to go from, I don't know, Ole Miss to McDonald's or whatever in 3 minutes, or 30 seconds, and you have to make connections. I feel like we could do it.
That'd be a very interesting show.
I don't think that's a great skill.
I know for a fact
it's a skill.
I was going to say, I'm not really sure if that's something that helps anybody, but I think we absolutely could do that. All right, so you tuned in here not to listen to us talk about all that stuff, but to hear about Ole Miss sports. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe.
Who are we to say?
That's
true. Who are we to say what the viewers want?
The viewers are just numbers on my computer. The analytics just show numbers. They don't show why you listen. All right, so big week for the Rebels. So Ole Miss opened the season at, I believe, number 6 in baseball. Was that correct?
With D1, which I go by D1.
Yeah,
that's kind of the one.
That seems to be
the 8 people.
Right. That seems to be the most consistent, most trusted. Back and forth. And so Ole Miss opened the season at number 6. Just like that, number 1. The Rebels are the number 1 team in all of college baseball, which still I haven't wrapped my head around it.
It's pretty bizarre. I will say.
I texted y'all the other morning. I woke up at about 6 o'clock and I was just laying in bed and I was like, we're the best team in college baseball. I couldn't go back to sleep. I was like, there's no one that's better than us. And we are theoretically better than everyone. That's crazy.
That's what that.
When has that ever happened? I mean, we had a few years ago when Mississippi State and Ole Miss were, I think, 1-4 in college football.
Yeah.
And that was as close as we've ever gotten to being the best at anything while we've been alive.
We got up to 3.
We get to 3 that year?
Yeah, we got
the Mississippi Mayhem year. And then
it was either that or the year after that, 2015. I can't remember. I know for a fact we got up to 3 at some point.
Yeah,
baseball's been up there.
Baseball's jockeyed up in the top
rifle number 1 as well.
That's true. That is true. We are damn good at that.
Yeah, which is awesome. I always love it when we beat the service academies, but I also am very concerned.
It's
a lot of go Ole Miss, but it's also okay, cool.
It's okay.
So these are the people protecting you.
It's like I don't want to take a shot at the troops, but something seems fishy.
It's concerning, to say the least.
Hey,
go Rebels!
We're gonna mark that and keep an eye on that.
Yeah, we'll flag it. Yeah, we'll revisit.
Exactly. Bookmark it. We'll check it out later. So last week Ole Miss opens the season at the State Farm Showdown in the new Texas Rangers Park in Arlington. It's a beautiful park. The worst broadcast that's ever been broadcast ever. Flow Sports deserves to die immediately. It was the worst streaming service I've ever seen. That you hardly got replays. The commentators sounded drunk, I thought. The commentators were confusing players on other teams, even though they called every single game the whole weekend.
Right.
They saw every team 3 times. They were calling people the wrong names. They were saying just obscure facts that didn't mean anything. Yeah. They talked about Whataburger every 8 seconds, which I can't blame them for that. But it's like, dude, shut up. We know you're watching baseball. Talk about baseball.
Yeah. My problem was, here was my number 1 problem. The scoreboard operator continually struggled. So I didn't know what the score was. Mm-hmm. I didn't know, I didn't know the pitch count, which they didn't have that at all. But
right.
He would the real
Scoreboard?
No, dadgummit. The real count, thank you, would be like 2-2, but the scoreboard would say 1-0.
Yeah.
It would be that behind. And so you wouldn't – it was hard to tell what was going on. Or like it would say, oh, we have 2 outs. Mm-hmm. Really, you only had 1. Mm-hmm. So that made it confusing. They also called the wrong name, which I get it in the first couple games. You're getting your feet under you. It's a piece of paper. Like you literally have a piece of paper, and you literally just have to look and say, okay, that's number 35. Okay, that's Kevin Graham.
Well, and also the other thing too, it's not like you're calling a hockey game where as soon as you figure out what's going on down there, it's already back over there.
Nobody moves.
It's baseball. It's nobody moves. It's the slowest sport known to man.
Yeah, nothing happens.
Everybody's
just chilling where they were.
Anyone with a functioning adult brain can call a baseball game theoretically if you just give them the right information and you go, that's right field, that's center field, that, and you just I mean,
everybody pretty much camps out. It's just like, hey, this is where I'm going to be for the considerable portion of the day.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, we just went off on a tangent complaining about the broadcast, and I apologize for that. But the baseball was unbelievable. The Rebels. The Rebels went 3-0. Obviously, they're number 1 now. We went 3-0. We had a win first over number 10 TCU 7-3, then number 3 Texas Tech 5-4, and number 9 Texas 8-1. So we sweep the Texas teams. Arkansas and Mississippi State both also put together fantastic weekends. Overall, the SEC finishes 8-1 that weekend. The real loser was not the Big 12, though. It was Flow Sports.
It was.
Flow Sports got absolutely torched.
Yeah, Big 12's close, though.
Big 12 is a close second.
It's tough to have 3 teams, and they go, what, 1-8?
1-8. Yeah.
That's, and all 3 of them are top 10 teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I was looking at the poll this morning, and it's crazy because Texas and TCU are both, Texas and Texas Tech are both still very high up in the rankings. Texas Tech only dropped a couple.
Yeah,
because they lost to 3 top 5 teams.
It's not like they're losing to bad teams.
This was 6 teams in the top 10. So even if you go 0-3, you're still probably not going to fall off because theoretically you're playing one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah,
and so but I was looking at the poll and you've got like 0-3 Texas Tech is number 7 in the country.
I know
it's weird.
Bizarre.
It's a weird thing to look at.
But baseball's weird like that.
It is.
Losses don't really matter.
Mm-hmm. It totally depends on who it is and when it happens.
Yeah, because baseball's so like. It's so bizarre how like you can, if in a doubleheader, you can lose the first game and win the second game. Mm-hmm. Doesn't make sense.
Baseball's one of those sports where the best team will not always win. I mean, we were watching earlier tonight before when we were sitting down and getting ready to record. Arkansas almost lost to Southeast Missouri. There's no comparable talent. There's no comparable talent between those 2 teams.
Yeah, it's just how it works.
But SEMO took them. I mean, really, SEMO gave the game away. They were up 5-3 in the bottom of the 9th.
Well, yeah,
and lost the next
time. Like the thing is like the pitching wins.
Yeah,
there. And like the pitcher for SEMO started losing steam. Mm-hmm. Arkansas's guy walked in and went bang, bang, bang.
Yeah,
and it was just like that was the end of that.
Yeah, and that's the thing is. You play a baseball game, you run into a good pitcher. You can have good pitchers that play at you have good pitchers that play at every level of college baseball.
Yeah.
You have good hitters that play at every level of college baseball. And that's one of the things that I actually like about seeing some of these midweek games is that there's usually at least one guy on these teams that's actually a really damn good baseball player. Well, I forgot what his name. It was Liam something. It was the Canadian lefty that hit the home run for Arkansas State the other day. Dude was from Toronto, Canada, or whatever. I think he went. I think he probably had. I think he had like 2 of their 5 hits or something, 2 of their 4 hits. I mean,
they only had 2 hits. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well, then maybe he had them both.
Okay. Did he hit the home run?
He hit the home run. He had at least half of them. But yeah, I was talking about looking at the polls earlier. It's crazy because you look at it right now. Ole Miss number 1, Arkansas number 2, Vandy number 3, Mississippi State 5, Florida 7, South Carolina 17, Tennessee 18, LSU's 11. LSU's 11, bad order there. And Auburn number 21. So you've got 1, 2, 3.
Bama's ranked.
Yeah.
Baseball America, Bama's ranked too.
So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got 9, and then the Bama being hypothetical 10th.
No,
all ranked.
I think 1, 2,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, 9. Yeah. 9 here in the D1. Yeah.
Dang.
Anyway, basically
lot of ranked teams.
Basically half of the top 25 is in the SEC.
Yeah. Well, and you got to think like
and three of the top 5 are in our specific division.
Yeah.
Which is just
10 out of 14 SEC teams are ranked.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I mean, it gets well. I'm not going to say I get tired of saying it. It just gets repetitive saying the SEC is the best. The title comes through the SEC. It's not the case in basketball. And it really hasn't been.
It can be, though.
It can be. It is every once in a while. It is every once in a while, but it's not this year. But yeah.
But I think what's so interesting to your point about baseball is like it's probably the only sport where athleticism doesn't really matter. Like they're pretty. All the athletes are pretty much the same. It's not like it's not like football where Alabama's just got better athletes,
right?
Or in basketball, Duke's just got better athletes.
The difference,
it's just skill sets.
The difference is the big difference is you'll see on a baseball field between a team like Arkansas State and a team like Ole Miss obviously you're probably going to have a lower quality of offense.
Yeah,
that's going to be like the biggest glaring one. But as far as the defense, Arkansas State's center fielder might be as fast as ours. Their shortstop might have as much range left and right as ours does. Their first baseman might be as flexible and
their pitcher can maybe throw it as fast as our guy.
Yeah, a lot of the numbers match up. It just comes down to we can do it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It's not as
better players. It's not as an athletic thing.
Right. Like for example, Ole Miss and Alabama in football this year. Alabama top to bottom 1,000 times better than Ole Miss
athletically. Yeah.
If they play that game 10 times, I doubt Ole Miss comes that close again. I really do.
I agree. No, I agree.
I think there's maybe a scenario in which they win, but if you play that game 10 times, that was like one of those games where it was on. And sometimes in baseball, you're just on. And the whole team is Ole Miss is number 1 in the country, but we just can't hit the ball that day.
Yeah, and
Arkansas State will come beat us 5-0.
Yeah, and that's what happened. Last night, the first couple innings, we weren't hitting well. We were getting contact, but it was a lot of pop-ups and stuff like that. And eventually, the bats started getting hot. And that's the thing about hitting is it comes and goes. Mm-hmm. That's what's so interesting about baseball. And I think that's why losses don't matter as much as they do in other sports. Is because it's so game to game. Because you could be the best team in the nation like Ole Miss is and be so good at hitting the ball, and you just for some reason in that game you're just not doing it. Right.
If it takes 45 wins to be considered, a top 10 team in the country. If you got to win 45 plus games every year to be considered top 10 in baseball, that's not comparable to the 9-3 team that's in football. That's they're pretty good, but they're just not quite there. Your 45 win team could be just as good as your 55 win team.
Yeah,
and they ran into a couple of better arms.
Yeah,
they played an SEC schedule versus a Big 10 schedule. They, whatever. There's a lot of different factors that come into play, and when it comes down to it, like you said, the losses just don't mean as much.
Right.
Just game to game. Football, you lose a game, that's a death sentence most of the time for a national championship run. You lose 2.
That's kind of
you got it. You're in trouble.
A lot of things have to happen previously.
You can lose 10, 15 games in college baseball and still be one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
Easily. And I'll kind of segue that into talking about the Arkansas State game. I'll be honest. This is the best baseball team that I think we've watched in our lifetime. There have been some really good teams. 2014 went to Omaha. 2018 should have been to Omaha. Lost to Tennessee Tech in that regional.
Apparently 2005's team was good.
We were
6?
I was still hitting baseballs off a tee at that point.
Yeah, that's after I had already hung up my
your glory days were over. Yeah.
T-ball.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's pretty good. It's here's the thing. Pitching is like how goalie in hockey. Mm-hmm. If you have a really good goalie, you're going to be really good. You got a good chance. Exactly. And so the same with baseball and pitching. If you have a very deep bullpen, which Ole Miss probably is as deep as it's ever been, you really have a shot. And that's the difference, is because you can outlast people. Mm-hmm. Because once, hypothetically, Arkansas State starts getting into their 4th, 5th guy, they're done. Mm-hmm. But with Ole Miss, you've got McDaniel, you've got Tyler Myers is back, you've got Taylor Broadway, you've got Wes Burton. Greer Olson, who has not thrown yet. Yeah. You have the freshman, whose name I always forget, that came in for a little bit, and then last night we saw Cody. We had Jackson Kimbrell pitch. We had Cody Adcock. We had Wes Burton and Tyler Myers out of the bullpen. That was one of the things I wanted to mention too. Is that so last night Drew McDaniel gets his first career start, goes 4 1/3, 8 strikeouts, 2 hits, 1 walk, 1 earned run. He looked phenomenal. He did look good.
Bianco kind of yanked him at the first sign of any trouble, which I totally understand.
Yeah,
in this kind of a game, there's no.
And you could start to tell like he's losing his umph. I mean, which is fine. He did more than enough.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Well, and the other thing too is that in most of these midweek games that the Rebels are going to play, 4 1/3 to 5 innings. If he goes past 5 innings, that's just more than we.
Yeah, and now you
have to ask for.
And hopefully you're up like we were, and you can get your guys in like Wes Burton. Jackson Kimbrell. You can, maybe you can throw some Greer Holston. You can throw some the freshmen. You can just get some guys some reps. And get some.
That's what a lot of these. And that's what a lot of these midweek games are good for is getting just seeing more people. I mean, we saw some shakeups in the lineup last night. Obviously, I guess this one was going to happen anyway. You had T.J. McCants come in and play second base for Peyton Chatagnier. Chatagnier probably wasn't going to play anyway. He's still
get him healthy.
He's still injured at this point. We don't really know any news about that yet. But we got to see T.J. McCants last night. Like I said, we get to see Cody Adcock. We get to see Drew McDaniel start for the first time. We get to see Wes Burton again, Tyler Myers. And then we also, we got to see Plumlee. We got to see
some guys get to see some pitches, get some at bats.
We got to see when it comes down to it, when it's time for Ole Miss to win games, there's realistically probably about 11 guys that we put out in the field. I'd say maybe 10 or 11 guys.
But here's the thing that's so good about our team is that T.J. McCants probably starts somewhere else.
T.J. McCants and Jacob Gonzalez competed for that starting shortstop job down to the end.
Yeah,
is what the reports were. And he comes out last night, goes 2 for 5 with a double, a single, and a run. Absolutely smoked the ball, made some good plays in the field.
Yeah,
looked smooth. Did not look like a freshman who hadn't played or anything like that. And so like we said, these games serve as a really good way to get some of these young guys.
Yeah, because we're a pretty young team.
Mm-hmm.
And so it allows these guys like, McCants and Gonzalez, he starts to get some more action. You get guys like, McDaniel to get some pitches in. You get some other guys that got to hit. By the end of it, I didn't know who it was.
Yeah. So some of these guys, we had to do batting with no batting gloves. I didn't even realize anybody did that.
Yeah, exactly.
We had Knox Apostle behind the plate last night. I was trying to think.
Catcher, and I will say, Bianco in the press conference last night, great question that was asked, not by me. I wish that I would have thought of it, but he said, McCants going to kind of be that guy if Chatagnier can't go, or if they want to rest him. And he said, no, I think he played really well, but I think you're going to see a bunch of different people play. The freshman pitcher, I don't know, I can't remember. It was I can get all their names confused, but the freshman that could go in there, McCants. I think Plumlee was mentioned in that rotation. So that's the thing. I was talking to my father the other day. We were talking about the team, and it's
the Reverend.
Yeah, the Reverend. And the thing is like I said, we have starters warming the bench.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you have starters at Arkansas State or
T.J. McCants.
Kentucky.
I was looking at T.J. McCants last night. So Perfect Game is one of the better scouting website services that's out there. So Perfect Game ranks their players 1 to 10. 9 is a very high level prospect. Could be a high MLB draft pick that year. Will most likely be a good college starter. A 10 basically is this dude will be drafted high. He will be a superstar in college, and it's all there. It's all in there. T.J. McCants is a 10. Gonzalez is a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Did these guys? They were 10s. No, they were 10s. They were both rated as 10s coming out of high school.
That's pretty good.
These were both 2 of the top 100 players in their class. We took Gonzalez all the way out of California, and we got T.J. McCants out of Pensacola, Florida. And so, that's one of the other things too that's wild. Is Ole Miss baseball is not a
Mississippi made.
It's not a Mississippi made Southeast.
Yeah.
We went.
But that's what happens when you're a big boy program.
Yeah, you can go and you can go. Hey, Jacob Gonzalez from California. Yeah. Listen to me. You ought to come play. You ought to come watch for Mississippi. Yeah, we'll give you a chance to compete for a job, play the best team in the country. All that, and that's one of the things. It's a pain in the ass sometimes when you've got like we said, guys like T.J. McCants who should be starting, sitting on the bench. It's a real pain in the ass. But at the same time, it's a great luxury to have because
it's a great problem to have.
Most teams, if you have a guy, I think if I remember right, Chatagnier went 5 for 11 in the State Farm Showdown.
SEC Player of the Week.
SEC Player of the Week. I had a handful of RBIs.
Doubles.
Dude was nuts. He went crazy the first week and was lights out. Played great defense.
Had to settle in the first game. I remember he made a couple of questionable plays on defense. Was kind of swinging too much, but I think that's good Lord. First game of the season,
playing in a big league park.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I really appreciate when a player like that has all this hype come in and all this tension, comes out a little jazzed, able to kind of settle down, and he settled down, found his rhythm, and then absolutely torched the rest is history.
Right, and the thing is you get a guy like Chatagnier, most teams can't. If Chatinier goes down for you, you probably don't have someone who is anywhere near his caliber playing behind him. You're gonna have to scramble around, move a backup shortstop over there, something like that. We just dropped a 5-star recruit in. We just dropped him in like that. And he goes 10. We just dropped a 10 out of 10 5-star recruit, goes 2 for 5 with a double in his first game. I mean, just like that. And that's one of the great things about this team. And that's what, that's the difference between some of these other teams is that, Ole Miss teams in the past, we've had some good teams, but we haven't had a lot of depth. Yeah, the depth. It goes, if
or we have depth, but it hasn't panned out.
Right. And you get those times where you have you got a Doug Nikhazy who comes in and he can only throw an inning and 2/3, and you go, oh shit, this is bad.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to go to the bullpen for 7+ innings. Yeah, we only got bullpen for 4. Something like that. And but that's not the case at all. I mean, like I just mentioned,
scoreless 5 innings.
Yeah. You get Taylor Broadway who comes in, throws 5 innings in a row against the number 10 team in the country. First relief appearance, like I said, in a big league park, all that comes in, lights out like that. And like we were talking about with the bullpen last night, McDaniel goes 4 1/3, Kimbrough goes 1 2/3. Then Cody Adcock comes in, throws 1 inning, strikes them all out. Wes Burton throws an inning, strikes 2 of 3 out, and then Tyler Myers closes it and he strikes them all out. So, I mean, 18 total Ks last night for the pitching staff,
a lot.
and now 20 straight wins.
Yeah,
20.
And hopefully 23.
Hopefully 23.
We don't want to dive too much. We want to let Spears bring the heat.
Right.
We are mere peasants when it comes to the sport of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
There's still some rules that don't make sense to me. But
So the Rebels face UCF this weekend. Three home games. I believe it'll be.
Are you going?
Yes, I am.
I wish that I could, but I have to go to a wedding.
That sucks. It really sucks when people
have
get
to be
married,
social. Yeah, weddings.
Yeah, and that's really awkward. That
it is funny that we conjured my roommate's fiance as
the door opened.
Talking about weddings.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's really interesting. Mila Kunis, she's super cool. Down to earth.
She's gone.
Something maybe she would walk in and be our best friend.
Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay.
But a hot tub.
Can I get a hot tub?
Yeah, that'd be cool too. Maybe it's a once a day thing.
It might be outside. You didn't check outside yet.
Yeah, we'll check out. We'll let you know.
Yeah. All right. So as we said, Rebels got UCF this weekend. All I can say is I hope it's just poor UCF. I hope the Rebels poured on them. Cale Baker was out the first during the State Farm Showdown with COVID. He came back, went and absolutely blasted a 2-run home run.
Well, it was so funny because his first at bat he just walked, and then his second at bat he just not. I mean, he just
hit it to the moon.
It was a tinkle missile.
Yeah,
as they say. I don't want to use harsh words on the air, but my grandmother watches this, so
yeah. We got one person watching right now. Shout out to whoever's watching right now. That might be your grandmother.
It may be.
You never know. I'm gonna bet no, but you never know. But yeah, so the Revs got three this week. We also got to mention John Rice Plumlee absolutely smoked that ball.
And I don't want to. I'm
so happy. It is so. If you don't cheer for John Rice Plumlee, there's something wrong with you. You're insecure about something, or somebody didn't give you a hug when you were a child. Something's wrong with you. That dude he's all smiles. He can do anything. He plays the piano. He plays quarterback, and he hits bombs.
Well, it's so funny.
What are we doing? I'm sitting here with no shoes on, talking into a microphone, and no one's standing in this room.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny.
What are we doing?
And I don't want to harp on this too much because we got to talk about basketball too. But me and my roommate Ross, we were sitting in the grandstands, and John Rice Plumlee comes up, and he hasn't from what we've seen of him. I mean, he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything.
Really?
So we're joking his walkout song's the Dougie,
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And we're kind of sitting there, we're kind of dogging him a little bit.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
here comes John Rice, and we're joking, because the media just loves him and talks about, he plays piano, blah, blah, much like what you just said. Mm-hmm. And we're kind of picking on him a little bit, and just to each other, we're not to him, but and so we're kind of joking with each other, and then he walks up and here comes a strikeout or whatever, because that's his first at bat was strikeout. And his first pitch, the first pitch he saw,
clobbered it.
He smacked the foo out of it. Once again, using censored words for the viewership.
4-year-olds can listen to the show.
And I have never shut my mouth and put my foot back. Shut my mouth, grab my foot, open my mouth, put my foot in my mouth,
and then subsequently shove the foot down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So quickly. It was the most bizarre. I felt so foolish, and it was good.
I was sitting there, and I was just like, was like, man, I hope he does something cool. He hasn't really done much yet.
Yeah,
for
and
us.
it's just
and they tweet about him so much.
Know,
and I'm like, he's got to do something. At some point, he's got to do something. He said, "Shut the hell up!" Boom.
Yeah, first pitch.
Absolutely whacked it. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. He hits a 2-run bomb. Cale Baker hits a 2-run bomb.
I had to pick my mouth off the floor.
And John was down there.
Woohoo baseball.
20 straight wins, looking for 23.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Spears back next week. He's gonna bring the heat. We've missed him for the last 2 weeks, and we're right in the heart of it now, baby. We need our manager come in.
I'm starting to doubt his loyalty to the podcast.
Wow, that's a topic for that.
That's something else we can flag.
That's true.
We've got
Mark
2 things
for later.
3 if you want to count the hot tub that we need to revisit.
That's true. That's true. Well, the other thing, you know what I just thought about? Michael Spears is the number 1 manager in all of college baseball.
Yeah, you could say, yeah.
He is the best. He is at the top of the flagship football polls.
Yeah.
He's
number 1. Yeah.
That's our guy.
I don't know who's number 2, but.
Not Arkansas's guy, I tell you what.
Yeah, that's true.
Not him.
Yeah.
Nope.
Because they almost lost today.
Boo.
So,
we have not almost lost yet.
And Michael has to take, he's the only one of the managers to play baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to do a lot of extra duties because they need a guy that knows baseball. So you could, 100% make an argument. So I challenge you, Jake. I want you to make a 5-page research paper, 5-point thesis. I want at least 6 sources.
Okay.
And let's
MLA or APA?
Let's say MLA. APA is for schmucks.
I agree.
And we'll make the case that Michael Spears is the best manager in all of baseball.
Boom.
So
works for me. All right. So we're going to we're not really going to take a quick break. We're going to take a quick break for the people on Spotify, and we're going to introduce a nice little new segment that we've come up with. My brother Ben is a hell of a banjo player, and we decided that, you know what, every podcast needs is a little bit of banjo picking. Just jammed right in the middle of it.
Everything needs.
We were talking about college baseball. We're going to go on to talk about college basketball, but we're going to just jam some banjo right there in the middle.
Because it fits.
Because nobody can say no to it.
It's like USPS. It fits a chip.
That's right.
Everywhere across the country, below flat rate.
That's right.
And yes, I'm high school. Well, let's say middle school land is jumping for joy.
Yeah.
The banjo man. It's
Ben, he sent it to me. It's waiting to be open right now. We're gonna hear it here in a little while. So if you're watching the YouTube video, we'd encourage you to jump over to Spotify or to Apple Podcast. Looks like we're right about the 32-minute mark right now. Jump in there. Get a little bit of the Benny Picks action. He's going to get after it. Oh, I know. I texted him that earlier, and he was like, "Why don't we just rip off Billy Strings? Why don't we just call it Benny Strings?" He was like, "If you're going to rip it off, just rip it all the way off."
I don't know.
Benny Picks.
Benny Picks. It rolls.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the dude can play the hell out of the banjo. And so, without further ado, Benny Picks. All right.
Wow.
So.
What wonderful music!
So we haven't we hadn't heard it yet. So we're just gonna say, "Wow, that was amazing."
Thanks, Benny Picks.
I'm sure it was fantastic. I actually can't wait to go back and listen to it. But yeah, so we're gonna jump in, talk a little bit of Ole Miss hoops here. Season's winding down. We were, just so close to giving up on this team.
I don't understand this team at all.
It doesn't make any sense.
Like I'm kind of like at this point, I'm kind of like pick a lane.
Just either be good or suck.
I'm ready to be all in, but I'm equally ready to be
all out. Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
It's so frustrating because right now we're the number 1 team in baseball. Ole Miss has never been this good at anything in my life. I don't know if I have enough brain capacity to focus my fandom on baseball and basketball at the same time.
It's hard.
And then I also have to think about recruiting for football. Dude,
yeah, we can throw that one to later.
I mean, we got it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
That's a long way off.
We got a lot going on right now, and so like we said, really, a couple weeks ago, we were ready to write this team off. I mean, they were one more loss away.
I did. I was done.
We did. We've said it before. We stood up after one of our I think our second episode. And we were like, dude, basketball is just tough. Yeah. Like we might just give up on them altogether and not talk about it. And thankfully we didn't they probably just listened to the show and heard that and we're like, you know what, we're just up yours, guys.
But the thing is,
they've won 5 of 6. They've won 5 of 6, and they've firmly put themselves on the bubble. They're 13-9 right now with an 8-7 SEC record, which doesn't that record right there doesn't scream tournament.
But that's how bad.
But it's also the quality of some of those wins in there.
Yeah. Well, because here's
you beat Tennessee, you beat 2 ranked Missouri.
Yeah. Here's the thing. This is what's so bizarre about this team, and I don't think there's ever been a basketball team like this. We are 3-0 against ranked teams, but then we get destroyed by a 500 state team or Georgia.
We shouldn't even have been in the gym with them. Devontae Shuler couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
No, with a 12 game.
I mean, it was unbelievable.
Points.
Yeah, on 1 of 16 shooting.
Yeah, that's terrible.
It was ridiculous. KJ Buffen was the leading scorer, and he came off the bench.
With
KJ Buffen had
points.
been the leading scorer in what, like 2.5 years, maybe?
I think it was the state game of that year. Where
I mean,
it's
ridiculous. That game made no sense. I mean, after I can't remember who I guess it was Missouri that we beat right before, wasn't it? Yeah. We beat Missouri right before, and we were thinking.
And then we had that game off because of the snow.
Yes, we missed LSU.
Yeah, but it got snowed out.
So our last win before that was Missouri. After that Missouri game, we were like, man, I tell you what, we're probably not going to win out, but we should win out. Just by looking at this schedule, we probably should win out. State was we would be favored in more games than not.
Yes,
and we think that based on how Ole Miss was playing over the previous 4 games, we should win those games.
Yeah, Missouri was
iffy. If you tell me that we're going to beat one of two, State Missouri, we're going to beat one, we're going to lose to one. I'm going to go. There's no way we sweep Missouri. There's no way we rank Missouri twice.
And we'll rough up a
bad Mississippi State team. A bad Mississippi State team. And no, we go and we get beat by 10 on our own floor. Like we said, Devontae Shuler can hit the broadside of a barn. Nobody else could do much more. And then we come out and we beat Missouri. We beat Missouri again. They were number 24. We knocked them way, way down after beating them the first time.
Well, then they went on a losing streak too.
Right.
That didn't help them.
And so now the Rebels won 5 of their last 6. 3 of them are top 25 wins, and all 3 of those are quadrant 1 wins, which are huge for the RPI, the BPI, the net, all that stuff. And so where we're sitting right now, the thing that concerns me about all this, I was looking at a bunch of this stuff this morning. So the Rebels are currently, the last update said Ole Miss is one of the first 4 out.
That's where we've been.
That's where we've been. That's where we're firmly going to sit unless we win out, I believe. But the problem is right now, I'm not sure Ole Miss is going to get that look. I think even if we win out because at this point we go to Vanderbilt on Saturday, Kentucky at home on Tuesday, and then we go to Vanderbilt. We added that one back. Sorry. Vanderbilt at home to close the season. So we at Vandy, Kentucky home, Vandy home.
And we may try and make up that LSU game.
Maybe.
But the benefit is if you win out, I will say Kentucky's getting hot, which makes that game a little bit more iffy. But if you win out and you win 1 or 2 in the SEC tournament, you at least get a play-in game, and then it just depends on if you can beat the play-in team. Let's be real honest. This team's not going to make it very far in the NCAA tournament if they get in.
I agree. This is a team that 2 weeks ago. I'll say if they play like they were a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, they were hot. Everyone shot the ball well. Romello White grabbed every rebound within a 12-foot radius of him. I mean, we played good basketball. And you need to play good hot basketball, good streaky basketball, and that's what we were doing. If we can do that, we got a chance to win, maybe a game or 2. I don't think this is a team that could make it past the Sweet 16, but I think it's a team that could maybe. Yeah. I think this is a team that can maybe win 2 games if we get hot.
You could make an argument that you win your playing game and you win your round of 64.
Mm-hmm. It's possible, but the problem for me when I look at this is that right now some of the other teams that are on the bubble that are really, really going to give Ole Miss trouble. Not playing trouble, going to give them trouble as far as taking their spot.
Yeah.
Duke is on the bubble. Louisville's on the bubble. VCU's on the bubble. Indiana's on the bubble. UConn's on the bubble. The list goes on. SMU, there's a bunch of good blue blood. I mean, you think that if Duke and Ole Miss are sitting there with the same record at the end of the season,
what if it was Duke Ole Miss for a play-in game?
That would be wild.
That'd be so fun.
But I mean, you can't tell me that if it comes down to one more spot, we've got a
whatever.
I'll say Ole Miss wins out. We've got a 16-9 Ole Miss team with a Duke team that probably has a roughly similar record.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think Duke might even have more losses than Ole Miss right now. Duke with a worse record is probably looked at more favorably than Ole Miss because they look at it and they go, okay, yeah, the net and the BPI and the rank and the RPI, it is higher for Ole Miss. However, do people want to watch Duke or do they want to watch Ole Miss in the tournament? Yeah. And that's what it comes down to.
Right.
Nobody because, like we said, it might be a one and done type situation. At best, maybe you get a second game, and maybe you win 2. Who knows? But when it comes down to it, the people want to see it.
Yeah.
And that's what the committee's going to go for because the other thing that you got to think about too, this is a big year for the NCAA tournament. They got to get this right. They hemorrhaged money last year.
Yeah.
During COVID. Everybody did. Just to be honest, but they got to get this one right. And if it comes down to needing to make a money making decision. Duke and Ole Miss are not teams that are going to win this tournament.
Right.
But if it comes down to who's going to,
I mean, that's the thing.
I don't. I mean, this year probably not. But I'm saying,
but more likely than Ole Miss because they've done it. They've been here before. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. And that's where you look at the college football playoff. Like, are you going to put a group of 5 team that's undefeated, or are you going to put a 2-loss Clemson in there? I mean, you're going to want to put a team that's got the best chance,
right?
And Duke does. I mean, they've played,
and there's also a part of those decisions that's made on the behalf of money. You go. Hey, look, it'd be great if we put an undefeated UCF in there, but Clemson's so much more. We're going to make us so much more money. Right. Clemson will travel.
Follow the money.
Yeah, you follow the money, and you would hate for it to come down to that, but realistically, it could. And that's the reality of the situation right now. Is that there's a handful of teams that are more marketable, more lucrative than Ole Miss, and when it's all said and done, that could be the difference. Obviously that would never be a reason that was released or explained and told to the public, but you might be able to kind of sense. If a Duke team with a worse record than Ole Miss gets into the tournament, really? I mean, you kind of just look at it and you go, yeah, I understand. I understand that. That makes sense. But yeah, as it stands right now, Ole Miss is number 59 in their net ranking and they're number 44 in their BPI. Mm-hmm. Based on those rankings right now, Ole Miss is firmly in the tournament. But the problem is like we said, they got 3 more games that are all going to be tricky. They got to play Vandy twice in 3 games. They got to play them. They got to play them twice a week.
Yeah.
And you got Kentucky jammed in there in the middle.
And they're getting hot.
And they got Calipari, and you can't ever count them out. I mean, there's more talent. There's more talent on Kentucky's bad team than there is on our team right now. There's more talent
in Kentucky's walk-ons.
Yeah, I mean they're not winning. They're not winning a whole lot of games. They didn't have a great season, but that's still 5 stars on the floor.
Yeah.
I mean that's upwards of 20 to 25 stars sitting on the floor right there. And you need
it'll
Ole Miss,
be interesting.
You need Ole Miss to win those 3 games.
Tune in.
Tune in
because it could get interesting, or it could
get interesting in a bad way.
What's the Trump? Make it bigger, make it bigger.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of where we're at right now. I hope anybody listening to this is watching YouTube also right now. That was fantastic. All right, so to wrap up the show here, we got a few mailbag questions.
I feel like we can't answer those. Those are Spears questions.
Well,
because
okay. Well, I can definitely answer. I mean, we'll get going. We'll see what we do here.
Okay.
We'll see what we do here. All right, first one. We got Sam from Buckhead asking us, how hurt is Chatagnier? Sadly, to say it short, we don't know.
We did it. We got one.
Good job. We don't know. That's something that at this point there was no reason for he was going to probably rest for the Arkansas State game anyway.
Yeah,
he was probably going to be sitting out that game.
He needs to take as much time as he needs. We don't need it right now.
No, we don't. And realistically, TJ McCants could play he could be perfectly serviceable, above average,
and that's all you need
against UCF this week. And so we, like I said, we don't know yet. We haven't really heard about the extent of the injury. It was kind of a weird one. I don't know. Nobody was really sure what kind of was going on. Nobody really got it because sometimes
things are weird.
Because sometimes you see a guy go down and you're like, oh man. That's bad.
That's bad.
But sometimes a guy goes down and then they pop up and they run off and you're like, oh, okay, he's good. He just rung his bell or whatever.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell right there. And so Sam, to say it, I don't know. We don't know. I'm not sure if we expect him. I don't expect him to play this weekend. I expect maybe
he shouldn't play really until he's 100% healthy until SEC play. Like if he gets 100% like next week, fine, bring it back. But like until he's 100%, don't play him.
Yeah, because at this point we got UCF, we got Memphis next week. There's not going to be a whole lot of games on the schedule that he will be needed for.
Yeah,
because like we said, there's a 5-star 10 out of 10 backing him up.
Yeah.
Who went 2 for 5 with a double and a run.
Yeah, and he'll get better.
I mean, it's phenomenal how deep this team is. And so that's why, I mean, most teams, like I said, would be just distraught to have a guy like Peyton Chatagnier hurt. Your leadoff batter who's hitting 444 after the first weekend. That's all right. We'll be good.
Yeah.
We'll be good. So, yeah, Sam, to be frank with it, we don't really know. Davis from Nashville asks, he says, with Governor Tate Reeves seemingly rolling back some restrictions as early as next week, do you foresee an almost normal Swayze atmosphere for SEC play?
I don't know.
I say yes. I was reading something today that said that Keith Carter and whatever Mississippi State's Joker AD's name is, at this point, and to be honest, actually, I'll say first, to be honest, I'm really not sure why it's not higher yet, because at this point,
Mississippi's kind of
Mississippi has sort of figured out that COVID numbers have gone way down in Mississippi. And the other thing, too, is that all across the country, places are opening up at 25% plus in capacity. Yeah. I mean, I swear, Arlington, there was times when you see on the broadcast last week where it looked like, I mean, it was damn near shoulder to shoulder in the lower bowl.
State's only letting like 30 students in now.
Yeah, I mean, we're letting in 250, which is just absolutely horse crap. But that's what it is right now, unfortunately.
Appreciate your censorship.
Yeah, I was looking at you. I couldn't say a bad word looking at you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, but so I would say here in the next couple of weeks, because I think that obviously I think Tate Reeves is experiencing a lot of pressure to open it back up. I think that if the data's there to support it, I think it's going to happen. I think the data will be there to support it. I don't know if it's a week away or if it's 3 weeks or whatever. But yeah, I think it'll happen. I would be shocked if we start SEC play and there's still only 10% capacity out there.
And I hope that that's the case. It's just hard to tell.
But the whole thing, the bottom line with all this is, I mean, over the last year, if there's one thing that we've known for certain is that nothing is for certain. I mean, that's the one thing. That's the one guarantee right now. And so, Davis, I would say that I would expect those to be rolled back here pretty quick, or not pretty quick. I would expect those to be rolled back soon. Keith Carter alluded to the fact that he said, hey, even if we get the all clear, it's going to take us some time to get the proper procedures and protocols in place. And so he said, just because Tate Reeves says on Monday that we're good to go, we're not rolling on Tuesday.
Yeah.
He said, we're going to do it the right way. It's not just going to be. It's not just going to be open the floodgates. Everybody, welcome back. It's they're going to want to do it the right way, because the other thing too is it would be a nightmare scenario if they open it back up and then have to close it back down.
Exactly.
That's the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And so they want to make sure they do it right. They do it right the first time, and we can just keep on sailing smooth from there with the number one team in the country.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, last one. We got Jimmy from Nashville. Jimmy, I love these questions. He says, how impressive of an athlete John Rice Plumlee really is. That's not a question, but thank you. Thank you for that question, because he is a damn good athlete.
Yeah.
That dude can do anything, like we said.
He does sports stuff.
He hits bombs. He runs really fast. He can throw footballs. He can catch footballs.
And he can tickle the ivories.
That's right. That's right. That's right. He also asked, did Cale Baker's impressive lettuce help him recover quickly from COVID?
That's hair. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, I said that to you earlier, and you looked at me like I had 3 heads. Or you looked at me as if I was saying that Cale Baker actually had lettuce on him.
And I was like, I didn't realize.
You were like, that makes no sense.
I'm more of a cabbage guy myself.
Okay, fair. Cale Baker's got phenomenal flow. He hit the absolute crap out of that baseball. I'm so excited he's back. Honestly, it kind of even slipped my mind that we weren't missing him.
I know, yeah.
It slipped my mind because Ben Van Cleve came in.
Yeah,
big old gorilla. I love that man.
It's such a great
the mic'd up of his double when he started. Ole Miss baseball tweeted it in game one when he hit the double.
That's good stuff.
He's mic'd up right here in the middle of his chest, and he bangs on his chest, and it literally sounds like a gorilla because he's banging like basically on the microphone.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
That's pretty cool.
It's unbelievable. This is one that we were going to serve right up for Spears. Do the guys on the baseball team really like each other that much? They seem to be having the time of their lives. What would you say to that?
I don't think they have fun, truthfully.
I don't think they like each other?
No.
It's forced?
Yeah, I think it's a
Bianco's behind. Once they step off the diamond, Bianco's
I think
just
there's no fun that goes on with this team. I think that the little whatever move they do is no fun. Legs I don't think they enjoy doing that. I don't think winning and being number one is any fun.
I think Ole Miss actually wants to lose at this point.
I think so too. I think that they're not enjoying themselves.
I think Bianco was. I would have loved to have
been. They wanted.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall at the State Farm Showdown to see how mad Bianco was that we went 3-0.
Ugh, guys.
Yeah. I think that's what's going on here.
So no, I don't think they're having any fun.
Maybe that's where Spears is. He's just getting absolutely an earful because we're the best team in the country,
and we don't want that.
He's got a private meeting right now with Mike Bianco, and he's telling him that you need to stop being the best manager in college baseball.
Having fun is not fun.
Having fun is not hard when you have a library card.
That's a fair point. I think you should write a separate research paper on that.
Again,
I'm being sarcastic. We're having a lot of fun.
Lots of fun.
Too much fun.
And it pisses so many people off. And I mean, you got Arkansas and State fans that are talking about, oh man, they're tweeting at us and this is fun. Shut the hell up, okay? Excuse me. Just because the other thing too is that as soon as they start winning games, they're going to do this too. They're going to do this too, and as soon as we lose, they can't wait to dog on us. And this, I mean, it's the way it is. Arkansas and Mississippi State, they hate nothing more than the success of Ole Miss.
Yeah,
nothing more than that.
Meanwhile, Ole Miss fans, the thing they hate most is is lines at Canes. Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait for
lines at Canes and lines at the bars and you know,
having to pay a
8 inches of
$25 cover. Well, sled.
It was nice. Full circle.
End it. Quit it right now.
Hey, that was the last question anyway. All right, I got 2 more things I'm going to mention real quick. Ole Miss recently set their pro day for March 25th, so actually a month from today. Well, this will be coming out on Friday, the 26th. A month from yesterday, Ole Miss's pro day will be held in the IPF. Obviously, with the combine being remote this year, not in Indianapolis and Lucas Oil Stadium, teams are going to have their own approved pro days. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to look like. I've been to the pro day before, but I'm interested to see what it looks like now because
we only have 3 guys.
Realistically, it's Elijah Moore, Kenny Ebo, and Royce Newman. Yeah, that's who it is. I'm interested to see what it looks like. That'll be a fun day to let those guys show off. There's going to be tons and tons of people there to see Elijah Moore, which will be a lot of fun. And then also the Grove Bowl set for April 24th. I think Ole Miss is probably going to beat the crap out of Ole Miss that day.
Ole Miss is going to win that game, Jake, and it's very exciting.
Well, it also really sucks too because I think we will probably lose at least a little bit.
Ole Miss will lose as well. Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those.
We will go 2-0 in 2021 and also 1-1. So.
Oh man.
Do what you will with that. It's both exciting and depressing.
That is. That'll be a big weekend. That April 24th weekend. That'll be a big weekend. That's also LSU baseball series at home. I can't wait for that one.
I did not know that.
I can't wait for that one. I won't be at the Grove Bowl. I'll tell you that. I will be in this. I will be at the baseball field.
I don't know. It's hard not to.
I will be at the baseball field.
They're not going to be at the same time.
Well, it'll be 4 p.m. and then on a Saturday versus.
Yeah, they're not going to want to do it at the same time. They'll make it. Yeah, we'll get to go to both.
We'll see. Yeah.
We'll make it.
All right. So, you got anything else? I think we're about done here.
Yeah, I mean, you want it.
We came full circle with this slug.
Yeah, we did. It was pretty awesome.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
I know.
I like it. All right. From all of us here at the Flagship Football Show, Jake Evans, Lan Teller, and the occasional Michael Spears when he is here normally, we want to thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for joining us and listening in. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for checking it out. I hope we look good enough for you. As we said, follow the Flagship Football Show on Twitter and Facebook. Follow the Rebel Walk on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Go to therebelwalk.com to check out all of the Ole Miss coverage you're going to need. Live blogs for all of these baseball games. Great content. Evie Van Pelt and the rest of the staff do a phenomenal job. So tune in and follow the Rebel Walk for all your Ole Miss sports updates this fall. Also, while you're at it, check out Mark Rogers, the voice of college football on YouTube. He does great work. We're happy to be partnering with him. And we also want to give a thank you, even though we haven't listened to it yet, to Benny Picks for absolutely shredding it a little while ago. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Evie. Thank you, everybody else.
Thank you, Lan. And thank you, Jake.
Boom. We're done. Good stuff.